Hi, I'm Rob,
And I'm Sandy.
and this is the Carter Chronicles.
Today we are sharing the experiences we had when we spent a few days in and around Denali National Park.
Denali, meaning the high one in the Athabascan language, is the highest peak in all of North America. The entrance to Denali National Park is located 237 miles north of Anchorage and 120 miles south of Fairbanks on Highway 3, which is also known as the George Parks Highway.
The main focus of our trip to Denali was to see wildlife, and as soon as we arrived, the welcoming committee was out to greet us. At this point in our trip, our first trip to Alaska, we had been all over the state and still had not seen a single bear. And I, for one, just couldn't leave Alaska without seeing a grizzly bear in the wild.
Patience paid off though, and we not only saw grizzly bears, but moose, caribou, Dall sheep, and much more. In fact, seeing four of Alaska's Big Five in one park on one day was pretty amazing. The only one of the Big Five that we didn't see was the wolf.
Here are some of the highlights of both wildlife and the scenery of Denali from our trip.
One of the best ways to view wildlife in Denali is on their park road. As big as Denali National Park is, it actually only has 92 miles of road. That road runs from the park entrance to Kantishna, which is also known as the end of the road. You can drive a personal vehicle to the Savage River Trailhead at mile 15, but to travel past that point during the normal season, you must ride on that park bus.
There are two types of buses that run in Denali: the narrated tour bus, which is tan, and the non-narrated transit bus, which is green. The green buses are more flexible in letting you hop off and on. They stop for wildlife viewing whenever possible and are much cheaper. Whereas the tan buses have a more strict schedule and do not allow for getting off and on, but they do offer a narrated tour while driving. It was our experience that our driver on the green bus was very knowledgeable and would share information about areas of the park we were in or animals we were seeing, so we really didn't feel like we missed out by not doing the more expensive bus tour at all.
As we mentioned, the bus will stop for wildlife viewing, but they also stop to take breaks. This gives everyone a chance to get out and stretch or use the restroom. At one of the stops, there was a temporary visitor center set up that had horns and antlers for us to see. It was amazing how heavy some of these were. There were also some exhibits that were displayed from the resident artist that year. As far as visitor centers on the park road though, there's really only one.
Located at mile 66 on the park road is the Eielson Visitor Center. Here, our bus stop for us to take a break, use the restrooms, explore the exhibits, or you can even venture off on a hike from there. It's a beautiful facility with amazing artwork displayed, and rangers are there available to answer any questions that you might have. They also have a huge glass window for viewing Denali, which can only be seen about 1/3 of the time. So the other 2/3 of the time, there is a frosted outline on the glass to show you where it would be, if you could see it.
One of the most beautiful and most terrifying parts of the park road is Polychrome Pass. As the name suggests, it's an area showcasing many colors, but also it's a very narrow pass with a plummeting drop-off on one side. You've heard of white knuckles before, but I got to experience purple thumb. As our daughter was so terrified going through this area, she squeezed my thumb to death. This one is not for the faint of heart.
Mosquito alert! Nowhere else in the entire park had bugs like Wonder Lake did. Thankfully, we had bug nets to wear and some repellent bracelets to wear that helped, even though some of us decided to just stay on the bus for this stop. This is the place that if the wind is still and Denali is visible, you can get some of the most beautiful pictures of the mountain and its reflection in the lake.
We did the transit bus ride all the way to the end of the road. We got to see all 92 miles of the road that Denali offered, and getting the obligatory picture by the sign that makes it official. It took a little over 13 hours to make the round trip to Kantishna and back, which made for a really long day, but it was definitely worth it.
At the time of making this video, the park bus routes are limited, so if you're wanting to do a bus ride in Denali, be sure to check out the schedules and routes on the park website.
Besides seeing a grizzly, another bucket list item, at least for our daughter, was to see the famous Denali sled dogs. She was so excited to see the dogs in person that she had previously seen on the park's puppy cams and website. At the dog kennels, visitors are encouraged to interact with the dogs and pet them as much as you like. They also offer demonstrations of the sled dogs at work. Obviously in the summer they can't use normal sleds, so a modified all-terrain sled on wheels is used for the dog team to pull.
The main building at the kennel shows all the names of the dogs that have retired over the years. Their wooden name signs from their houses are hung on display. It was really neat to see the only sled dogs in the entire national park system still being bred and raised to do what they love.
There aren't many options for food within the park. In fact, beyond the snacks and such available at the visitor center located at the park entrance, there are none.
Our first night arriving to the Denali National Park area, we ate at the Cabin Night Dinner Theater located at the Denali Park Village. It was a great all-you-care-to-eat meal, served family style. A cast of characters sang and told us the history of the people who first summited the peak of Denali. There was also some shenanigans.
But I'm sitting here on
On the morning of our bus ride, we started out with some huge, delicious cinnamon rolls from the bakery located inside of our hotel. Now, during the bus ride, we had to survive on peanut butter crackers, beef jerky, and granola bars. But that evening, we got to try out the pizza at a nearby place called the Lynx, which was really good and reasonably priced.
While exploring Denali National Park, we stayed at the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge. Located near the entrance to Denali National Park, this hotel is in a great location and had food options that were very reasonably priced. The lobby has 2 levels with a very impressive round rock fireplace. I wish we had had more downtime just to enjoy the hotel and its property.
For our second night, we stayed at the Mount McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge, which is located nowhere near the entrance of Denali National Park. This lodge, however, is located a couple hours away and south of the national park. Mount McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge is actually located in part of the Denali State Park. We decided to stay here because if Denali decides to show herself, it is one of the best vantage points to view the Great Mountain from a lodge. Also, Pete Nelson of the TV show Treehouse Masters had recently built a treehouse for the lodge, and Sandy really wanted to see it in person after seeing it built on the show.
We really hope you enjoyed this video of our time in and around Denali National Park. If you did, we'd love to have you like it and subscribe to our channel for more travel videos.
Our next video will feature a place not far from Anchorage, where you can walk out and explore a glacier for yourself or with a guide on a day trip to Matanuska Glacier.
Until next time,
Bye!
Like 15 feet away from me.